Hey guys, it's Iblis here with a regional report back from the Indy Regional this past weekend. This video might be going up a little bit late, not 100% certain on that, but yeah, I wanted to go into the Indy Regional on the weekend of the 23rd, 24th. Did play that Saturday. I wanted to decide to play Odd Eyes Magicians. I almost decided to say screw it because I didn't feel comfortable with anything and play Shiranui, the new zombie archetype that came out in Bosch, but my friends like actually tried and I was like fine, and I was torn between either this or Chronofax, but because I was missing so much for Chronofax, I decided to scrape that idea, and everybody's like, yeah, I just don't do it. So I want to play this instead. I did well. I mean, I suppose for how little I was expecting to do. I played again. It was an 8-round event. I believe 270-ish people. I know I made 77th. I was X1 going into round 5, I think. Yeah, it was X1 going into round 5. Lost the next 3 rounds after that. I swear it happens every regional where I just hit that 3-round losing spree. But I am pretty content. And I guess for like my matchups overall, there were 6 Pepe, 1 mirror match, but he was playing Nordics in it, which is really weird. And then I also played 1 Dynamist, which was really interesting. I still don't quite get how to play around that deck, or even what it really does. Some people told me like, nah, it doesn't do anything. But in total, yeah, it was 6 Pepe, 1 mirror, and then 1 Dynamist. I did lose 1 Pepe, or no, excuse me. All of my wins were 2-0s, and then all my losses were 1-2, so I'm pretty okay with that. I did well. Beat some Pepe, lost some Pepe. Pepe's dumb, but we know how it is. I almost did actually play it, but because I couldn't build it the way I wanted to, I decided against it. Plus, some of my other friends wanted to play it, so I was like, that's fine, because they needed their invites too. And I knew Odd Eyes Magician fairly well. But yeah, I played the mirror in round, or the Nordic mirror, quote unquote, in round 2. And Dynamist was either 3 or, I believe it was 3 or 4. I do not remember. I remember and I also, by the way, I did actually have a feature match because apparently this regional had feature matches. So whenever that goes up, I'll put a link to that somewhere. I put against Pepe in that feature match. That was actually kind of fun. But yeah, I'm going to get started on the deck list. This is post-Bosch. And yeah, we're going to go and just get you guys this list real quick. I'm pretty content with the list. There might be 1 or 2 changes, which I'll talk about. But I haven't even done this deck post-Bosch, so yeah. To start off with, we played the 3 Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragons because we wanted to see these. These were also really synergetic with the sideboard. Honestly, I wish I saw this card more. I didn't see it like at all throughout the entire day, and I made 3. We also made the 1 Jonke Magician and the 1 Dharma Eye Magician. In all honesty, I kind of want to drop the Dharma Eye for a second Jonke again, and I might be doing that. I never really cared for Dharma Eye's Pendulum effect, even though I felt like situationally it could come up. But Jonke being the Dark 2500 was really relevant, and it might have helped. I can't say for certain, because it's not like it ever really came up with Dharma Eye. But yeah, I'd probably cut the Dharma Eye for a second Jonke. I actually really like this second. 1 for the stats, but 2, the light negation was actually kind of relevant because I did negate a few Ptolemaiuses throughout the day just to stop some Infinity plays, so that was actually really cool. And then we also played the triple Dragon Pit, the most important scale in the deck. It's just a fantastic card. Triple Oath, the best, in my opinion, the best low scale of the deck. I also like Dragon Pulse a lot throughout the entire day. This card was really good. Oh my god, this card was good. I liked it a lot. 2 copies of Magispector Unicorn. I actually did get convinced to bump this up from 1 to 2 in my initial testing. 2 actually was, I mean, pretty helpful, but at the same time this card was also dead because I hated the fact that it's not a magician. I don't know if I want to try more of the Magispector route where it's like you main the raccoon and then I believe, yeah, QB is the trap one, and then try some of the traps. I thought about it. I have considered it, but I'm not certain. Also, major shout outs to my friend Zach, guy who's I think the last video he was on was the wind-up deck profile I did. But he actually got me a playset of these German, and I absolutely love them. So thank you very much for that, Ryan. Absolutely amazing. 2 Dragon Pulse, the counterpart. And then the dumbest card of the day, Skullcravat Joker. Oh my god, Skullcravat Joker. Even when I was playing against Pepe people, and they didn't realize that the search Performa Pal Magicians or Odd-Eyes, they're like, wow, this card's even dumber than I thought it was. Skullcravat Joker. Oh my god, I love Skullcravat. Not to mention all day when people kept going first turn Infinity against me, they constantly just kept negating the Skullcravat, and I was like, yes, you're wasting the negation on the Skullcravat, and I just can one off even more. And it's like they even have to though, because they can't afford to really let. I don't know why that card just fell, but they can't afford to let the Skullcravat really go off, because I don't really care about Infinity. This deck actually has a really easy time dealing with Infinity, especially depending on how they play it. But I will say first turn Rafflesia is a lot harder to play around. But I'll talk about that a little bit more later. Well, maybe. Triple Wisdom Eye. The only comment I have to say about this card is just remember that Vector negates it. I forgot that a lot. I really forgot that a lot, that Vector actually does negate the card. It is kind of crap. 1 copy of Timebreaker. Timebreaker was actually really cool. This is a post-Bosch card, and actually both of its effects are relevant, and I realized I didn't read Dharma Eye. But Dharma Eye, I guess just real quick, you reveal a Pendulum in hand, target a Magician, change its scale to the revealed card. And then Timebreaker was actually really cool. The Pendulum effect is that... Let me see if I can show this. There we go. Each turn, the first Pendulum monsters you control that would be destroyed by an opponent's card effect is not destroyed. And then when this card is Pendulum summoned from the hand and no other cards are Pendulum summoned at the same time, you can make this card's attack become double its original attack. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster on the field, banish both this card and the one card. Banish both it and this card from the field, but return them in your next standby phase. So it does temporarily out you Infinity. It also clears boards, which is really amazing. And it also technically has synergy with the side, but it wasn't really that big of a whole synergy thing, and I realized I should move this over because this is a one-of, and we're going into 4 one-ofs. But I love Timebreaker, and everybody I talked to was like, wow, Timebreaker is amazing, and actually that card alone made them single-handedly actually reconsider playing the deck again. I thought Timebreaker was phenomenal. 1 Archfiend Eccentric. Card came through. Oh my god. A friend of mine was telling me telling me to cut the card. I absolutely loved it all day. Eccentric was really good. Pop back row. Pop the opponent's skills if you just want to, so then that way you can just pendulum summoning it for free. And by the way, if you're playing against Pepe and they have Monkey Board and Gee Turtle, always pop the Gee Turtle. Do not pop the Monkey Board. Monkey Board can, honestly, letting Monkey Board sit there can hurt them more than it can help them. So that's just a little heads up for you guys if you want a tip for playing against Pepe. 1 Noble Dragon. I never synchroed with this card all day, I'll be completely honest. Oh my god, actually, yeah, I never synchroed with the card all day. I did play it. There were times where, I mainly just searched it to discard it for Pulse and Pit. And Pendulum Call. Didn't really do a whole lot with it outside of that. Sided it out a lot, too. And then the last card I wound up playing was 1 copy of Tuning Magician. Tuning Magician was something that a friend told me to play 1 of. I was initially playing 2, but I do have to thank him for giving me the suggestion of just playing the 1. The 1 actually did help me out a lot, because I technically can still use it twice if I need to, and then it's less of a dead draw. But for people who don't know what Tuning Magician does, it's a level 1 spellcaster tuner. If you have 2 Magician cards in your Pendulum zones while this card isn't in your hand or grave, you get to special it, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use this effect of Tuning Magician once per turn, and a lot of people actually never caught me on this because they don't read their cards. I had to take 400 and then they gained 400. I take 400, but my opponents never marked that I lost life. So, soft cheating, but at the same time, it's their own fault. The 400 never really came up, though. So, there's that. One guy actually did catch onto it, and I still played around it. But, Tuning Magician was great. I absolutely love Tuning Magician. And yeah, like I said, it's a one-of. You do have ways to play around it. Or play around certain obstacles with it. and you can use the 1 twice, so it does work out. And if you want to play Omega in the extra, which is something I considered, you can technically abuse it multiple times in that case. But that does it for the monsters. It's a really high monster count, I remember that much. I couldn't tell you the number off the top of my head, but yeah, it was a really solid monster count. I liked it. Really, there's not a lot I would change other than maybe the Dharma Eye over the Jonke. But that does it for the monsters. On to the spells. We only played 2 one-ofs actually, in the form of 1 Raigeki, 1 Foolish. Against Pepe, I did side out the Foolish and the 2 Tuners a lot. I realized that it's better just to have more like generic cards against, or more hate specifically against them, than have access to my Tuners and stuff. So I did cut those, even though, and I felt like there were more Game 1 cards anyway, so there was 3 easy side outs. 2 copies of Summoner's Art. Hey, let's get your stuff going. I feel like it's really important to see Dragon Pit, and I don't quite, and this is something I am going to admit, I don't quite understand how to play Maxi against Pepe, because like, every time I've done it, it's like, oh, it's when they play the 2nd scale, but then they just stop, and then I can't kill them, and I wasted a card. So, it's something that I admittedly don't quite understand. And in playtesting, I didn't like it, but I feel like there's something I'm not doing right about it. So, or doing something right about it. So, I played the Summoner's Art, and Summoner's Art was clutch all day. Summoner's Art was so clutch all day. I absolutely loved it. It got me my Dragon Pits, which is all I wanted out of the card. Then, Gentleman's Agreement, Triple Wavering Eyes. I started this out about half my rounds, I think, if not a little bit less. I never got Wavering Eyes back. I did, well, let me phrase that. I never had the 4 effect go off on me. I did banish a few cards, and I forgot once that the Draco Slayer fusion prevents their dudes from dying. And Twin Twister and Chain Link Orders does mess me up. But it happens. Yeah, Wavering Eyes, dumb card. It's just dumb. And then triple Pendulum Call. Best spell in the deck. Just enough said about it. I absolutely love Pendulum Call. Like, Pendulum Call, why? Why is this card so good? But that is it for the spells. And then I did play 5 traps. I played the 1 Solemn Warning. Hitting Pendulums is good. I did actually have a few times where I blew them out for 5. Blew out for 4. I hit a lot with Warning. Double Fiendish. I was in debate about Fiendish because some of my friends were telling me to play Breakthrough Skills instead. First off, I'm going to preface this by saying if I owned Solemn Strikes, these would be strikes, but I do not own them, so I didn't play them. But we were like in debate about Fiendish versus Breakthrough. A lot of my friends were telling me to play Breakthrough so that way you have the double usage for 1 Infinity turns, and 2, that way you can stop Nat Beast Pleiades. But hey, I never got Nat Beasted all day, so that was actually really nice for me to have to go through that little. And then I don't know, like I also like the fact that Fiendish prevented me from dying. That actually came up a few times and stole me a few games just because I could Fiendish them. So I absolutely love Fiendish. I really do not like Breakthrough Skill. Fiendish just prevented me from dying, which is all I cared about mostly. And just having the ability to negate effects is really good too. And then last but not least, we played 2 Storming. Storming is so good. I love it. Oh my god, Storming. Storming is my baby. I will always swear by a Mirror Force that's good in a format. I feel like that's just me. I will always swear by Mirror Forces. They're always like my favorite traps in the game. But it is a 40 card main. I was, even though despite only going, I did end up only going 4/4. But I liked the main board. I would, like I said, I would switch up the Fiendishes for strikes if I had them. And not really a whole lot else on the main board. If you want to, you could probably cut Noble, Tuning, and Foolish. But if you want to keep the Tuners in, keep the Foolish in. And then I would probably replace the Dharma Eye for the 2nd Jonke. And other than that, I really wouldn't change anything. I'm not a big fan of the Perform Age concept in here. I don't really like it. But that does it for the main. For the extra deck, We played 2 7s in the form of 1 Black Rose and 1 Meteor Burst. Both cards were great on paper. Never actually someone died there. Just how it is. I wish I played like Cosmo or something so then I can actually make use of like my synchros a little bit more. For 8s, we actually played 3 in the form of 1 Enlightenment Paladin, 1 Ignister, and then 1 Scarite. I made Scarite once. No, I didn't actually make Scarite at all, yeah. Scarite I never made. Ignister and Enlightenment Paladin I did make, I want to say twice each. Both cards were actually really good. Ignister was so dumb against any Pendulum deck. Oh my god. I literally had a few Ignister wars and it was just dumb. I don't get why Ignister is just the card it is. Ignister should not be the card it is. And then Enlightenment Paladin. This is actually a Bosch card, so I should read this to you guys. To start off with, it is a level 8 Dark Spellcaster, 25/2k, relevant stats. And it's a generic level 8 synchro, so any tuner, any non-tuner. If it's synchro summoned using a Magician Pendulum monster as a material, you get to target 1 spell in your grave and add it to your hand. You can only use that effective Enlightenment Paladin once per turn. And then it has like a Flame Wingman / arm effect, where if it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. So Paladin was actually really cool. Stole some games with it. Actually added back Wavering Eyes, Pendulum Call, and I think once Regeki maybe. Enlightenment Paladin was just awesome. I love having it. I never actually used it for the burn effect. I mainly just used it for the retrieving a spell effect and then progressing my game state. So that was actually really cool for Enlightenment Paladin just to do that for me for no reason. I did play the 5 synchros. I didn't play any Draco Slayers in my main board or side or anything like that. Part of me wanted to play the Draco Slayer Fusion, just somehow, and maybe play double Luster Pendulum, but it wasn't really worth it. For the 4s, I played 1 Magister Paladin, 1 Castell, 1 101, and then 1 Trapeze. Magister was mainly there for my first turn plays. I actually really liked it, but as another consideration for a rank 4, I might possibly play Carnagorgon in here somewhere. Not exactly sure where. Don't really want to cut any of the 4s or the 7s or even my 1/6 or any of the synchros and all. It's really hard to say because I want to keep playing. I want to fit in Carnagorgon in here because I want to force Carnagorgon to like make them retarget their own stuff for like Twin Twister or something. Or Ignis. Well, actually, I don't even remember if Ignister targets. Yeah, like force Ignister like to target a different Pendulum card. So that like Carnagorgon, I feel like Carnagorgon could have came up a little bit, but I don't know. Carnagorgon's a big maybe. So that does it for that. The 4s though were solid. I liked all of them. I went to all of them a fair bit. Trapeze and Magister being the 2 I made the most. 101 and Castell I think I made twice each, but I know like Castell was technically the weakest of them all, but Castell still helped me out a lot. For my 1/6, I played Beyond. Beyond is so good. Oh my god, Beyond. I mean, I had a few times where I went for the OTK with like they left the dude on board, and then I had Odd Eyes and made this. Then dropped everything to 0 and some with Odd Eyes, but they had the Juggler every time, and it was stupid because they opened like 2 to 3 Juggler, and then like they just proceeded to like do things after that, which was like, all right, that should realistically clump you, but it doesn't. So that does it for those. And then I did play 7, or 5 rank 7s, excuse me. Probably one of my 2 MVPs in the extra. Ebon Illusion. Actually, yeah, let's just get these out. For the 7s, I played 1 Ebon Illusion. Ebon Illusion. Oh my god, this card. I love this card. This card. What this card does for people who don't know, it does have the kind of like a Gaia Dragon effect, but for rank 6 spellcaster Ixies, I believe. That effect is really irrelevant unless you play Naruto, the Moral Leader. But you get to detach from it, special a vanilla spellcaster from deck, so you can summon Pulse or Pit. And if a vanilla spellcaster battles, you get to banish a card the opponent controls. And if it's a monster that you banish, you do automatically get a replay. So I thought Ebon Illusion was really great throughout the entire day. probably one of the two MVPs right next to Big Eye. I love these two. Not to mention these two really work well with the side deck again. They were actually like really good considerations. I love them both so much. Oh my god, these cards. I absolutely love these cards. I think it's great. One Red Eyes Darkness Flare Metal, or one Red Eyes Flare Metal, excuse me. Flare Metal was, I wanted to drop it so many times, but I was just forced into game states where it's like I have to make Big Eye or have on Illusion. But if I could have made Flare Metal, there were a few times where I would have. Don't know how much it would have changed the game, but it could have helped out a lot. Just attempting to burn my opponent. But I felt like just because they were at so much life, I had to force them to do things. And then the two I actually never made were Absolute or Rebellion. Obviously, I'm not expecting to make Rebellion. I'm expecting to just summon it off Absolute. But I never, again, played either. I didn't play any Cosmo, which is also really weird. I expected to play at least one Cosmo at the regional. And especially considering how Cosmo made top 8 from what I've heard. I heard they got 6th place. But, yeah, that was my 7 lineup. And I'm going to comment of why I didn't play Draco Sack. A lot of Pepe players I know aren't really playing back row, so there really wasn't like a whole lot to really feel about that. Plus, I felt that if Big Eye, or like if there was a problematic card on board, it's most inclined, at least in this format, to be a monster. So if I'm going to try and solve a problem, would I rather destroy the problem or attempt to take the problem for myself and then create a bigger problem for my opponent to deal with, considering I had the Big Guy and their problem. Like, I stole a few Draco Slayer Ixies, and then just my opponent was like, well, I can't destroy your scales now. So that was actually really nice. I stole some Ignisters. I stole a Trapeze Magician once, I believe. And I stole, like, 2 Infinities. So, yeah, there was that. I like them overall. Their 7s were perfectly fine. I don't think there was really anything. I would maybe, again, fit the Carnagorgon in. And possibly play Omega. But it's hard to say considering I didn't synchro a whole lot. And Noble Dragon, I guess, was technically the weakest card, but I still don't know if I'd cut it. And for the sideboard, I liked this side for the most part, but there were, like, I guess there's one card that I'm still mixed on, but I'll go and talk about it when I get to it. Because I'll say it was both an MVP of the day that won me so many games, and it was, like, just my fear of certain concepts in the deck. My only 2 monsters were 2 Samurai Cavalry of Reptier. Samurai Cavalry, this was for Cosmo, and basically just Cosmo. I have a really hard time with dealing with cards like Dark Destroyer or other big shit, or like the big ships that can't be targeted. So I just want my out. And Cavalry I felt was the best card for that. Plus it's a low scale, which I guess is cool. It's also a 4, which I guess is cool. But excuse me. That's why I played the Cavalries. I like Cavalry though, but I didn't really side it. I never sided it in. Double MST. I didn't really like Twin Twister in testing because I feel like yes, I build advantage, but not enough to the point where I could support just freely discarding for things like that. And then the Tribes, which were actually all MVPs of the day. One Quaking. I actually wish I played a second of this in my sideboard, but I don't know what I would have played over it. Quaking, for anybody who doesn't know, when they attack, you set all their stuff and then they can't flip it. It's actually really nice. It forces Pepe, and I was actually talking to Pepe players about it. They're like, yeah, if you flip Quaking on me, I just lose. And it's actually true. They just lose to it. They don't have a real way to play around the Quaking. So, Quaking was actually really nice on my end. I love Quaking. Mama Friend in a second. Brainhorn. Blow out Pepe. Oh my god, blow out Pepe. I love it. I love it so much. Honestly, I just forced them in the battle phase. I did kill some people after, like, the turn after I Grandhorned them. Grandhorn was just amazing, and it actually was a part of my lockdown of my feature match. But I love Grandhorn. Then probably the best side deck card of the day, Double Rivalry of Warlords. I almost feel like I want to go up to 3 on this. Rivalry is dumb. I love Rivalry. It forces them just not to have anything. Like, they get nothing. Pepe can only, like, depending on what Pepe decides to leave themselves with after they summon, like, they're just gonna lose. Because, like, their only rank 4 spellcaster is Trapeze. So, like, the instant you either kill the Trapeze or, like, do something to it, they're just gonna be like, well, what do I do now? Pepe has no real out to this outside to Twister if they go that route. But I loved Rivalry. Rivalry was my baby. And then both the MVP and the Curse of the Day, double deck dev, which is again why I kept emphasizing stats were relevant on the Odd Eyes and Jianke. If you resolve this against Pepe, you just win. Especially after they Juggler Search. You'll actually see how this card was actually my winner in Game 3 in my feature match. But deck dev. Oh my god, deck dev. There were so many good things about the card. Not to mention I tried to make it so my extra deck had it too with Flare Metal, Big Eye, Ebon Illusion, not to mention Enlightenment Paladin and Scarite. But the problem was, like, I had such a weird time seeing Odd Eyes throughout the day because I kept getting forced into situations where it's like, oh, I have to correct my scales or something, or I need to like go Skull Combat into Wisdom Eye just to get things going, and then I couldn't get a target for this, so it was really hard to get in that kind of situation. Like, I couldn't search enough to the point where I could get like my deck dev targets, but I still love deck dev. I'm probably gonna, like I said, I'm probably gonna switch the Jianke over the Dharma Eye, so then that'll give me another target, which might help. I want to keep playing the card, and I'm gonna just test around with it a bit more. It is both my MVP and my Curse of the Day, or I might bump it down to 1 because I, on average, sighted 1 in all day. I was really afraid of sighting in the second, but it was still really good. I love deck dev. Double Imperial Iron Wall just for Cosmo, nothing else. I don't want to deal with ships and anything like that or farm girls. And then Double Decree, which never came in all day. I didn't play any Magispectors. I didn't play any. I didn't play Magispectors. I guess not against Cosmo because I don't know how many traps Cosmo's doing now. I haven't really looked at Cosmo fact lists. Didn't play any other back row heavy decks. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this deck profile, and that's the regional report. And like I said, I played. It was an 8-round event. Went 4-4. Every round that I won, it was a 2-0. Every round I lost was a 1-2. So I'm glad I never got 2-0'd. I felt the list was strong. I just don't know what happened at the end of the day. But you know how it is. Gotta play Yu-Gi-Oh! Somehow. And let's actually get a little frame for you guys. Let's get the pretty cards. Yeah, pretty cards. Well, the pretty/dumb cards. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this deck profile, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to leave me some feedback and all that jazz. Share it with your friends. And there will be some deck profiles. I actually have my updated Junk Doppel deck profile from post Bosch recorded from before this regional happened, but that'll go up after this one, just because I feel like getting the regional reports and stuff are more important. But yeah, that's gonna do it for now, guys. I do have some other deck profiles coming up. Shirai Nui should also be coming up. Probably gonna be building that this week actually, and then playtesting it a little bit more in person compared to just online, so that'll help out a little bit with playtesting. But that's gonna do it for now, guys, and until next time, peace.